Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Vritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Mantra. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Our reading from the 70th Adhyaya of Srimad Bhagavad Gita of the Shraddha Yoga. And Sri Krishna is telling us everything in this universe, in this creation, the beings, the type of Shraddha they are carrying with them, and what are the different types of being they come into existence. Everything is threefold. Everything is filled with those basic three gunas that Sri Krishna had explained to us in Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. And this is an extension of that Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, when now Sri Krishna is telling how different people with these different types of inherent tendencies, they are endowed with even Shraddha of different types. The Shraddha, the purest of the pure Shraddha, the mediocre Shraddha, the Rajasic Shraddha, and then there is also the vilest, the wretched, the impure Shraddha, which is of the tamasic origin. And then Sri Krishna says, endowed with this Shraddha of the three different types of Shraddha, the beings, they start performing their activities in the next birth based on that Shraddha. So in turn, what happens? The activities that they get into, they are either highly pure, highly holy, highly pious, or they are just mediocre. So get them going on. Get them going on and on and on and on for all the lives to come. And finally, they can be doing all those wretched things, all those evil things, which will further ensure their downfall, that they are never going to come up on this path of liberation. They are never going to come up on this path of nirvana, of becoming one with the Paramatman. And Sri Krishna said, he told us that how these different types of people, they worship different kind of deities. How the demonical types, how they perform all those ugra tapa, that is torturing to their physical bodies, they're torturing to their mental makeup, and in the process they're also torturing the indweller inside, because these kind of austerities which are undertaken, they are not conforming to any scriptural injunctions. They are not done in the right spirit. They have got the motive of performing those austerities itself is not liberation or evolution or enlightenment or illumination. That is not the motive at all. But what is the motive of such people? The motive is lust and greed. The moment the austerities are taken up in this with this motive, with this power behind it, the kama, lobha, raga, Kama raga balanvita, that kind of motive behind those austerities, they are all hypocritical in nature, performed in the most arrogant manner and torturous for that matter. What is the use of torturing yourself? Rather, get into the practices which will bring you peace, which will bring you bliss, which will bring you the most encompassing joy that you can share with all. This pain and torture that you're inflicting upon yourself, you are also in pain, and people who are around you, who are looking at you, they are also in pain. They also pity you. And then Sri Krishna told us in the last shloka that, like this, all the activities that that happen in the lives of these three types of people, all those things, they are of these three types. Even the food, liking for the food by these three types of people is of three types. Shri Krishna said, āhārātu api sarvasya trividho bhavati priyah. There are three types of foods which are liked by these three types of people, which are so dear to these three types of people. And in the same way, not only in the food, in the matter of performing sacrifices, in the matter of performing austerities, in the matter of performing the acts of charity, everything, Sri Krishna says, all these activities, they are trividha. They are in three types of nature. Yajnaha tapaha tatha dhanam tesham bhedam imam shrunu. Now he is going to tell us. In the 7th shloka, he told us that he is going to tell us about these three types of foods which become so dear to each of these three categories of people. Three types of food, three types of yajnas, three types of tapas, three types of dana. And that Sri Krishna is going to tell us. Now in this 8th shloka, Sri Krishna is going to tell us about the food that is liked by the sattvika type of people. The purest of the pure food that is so dear to the holy people, to the people pure at heart, to the people in whom this sattva guna is so predominant. People in whom this sattvik shraddha is just enlightening through their deeds, through their persona. So about the sattvik type of food, Sri Krishna is telling in this 8th shloka. āyuḥsattvabalārogya sukhaprītivivardhanāḥ rasyāḥ snigdhāḥ sthirā hṛdyā āhārāḥ sāttvikapriyāḥ. What kind of food is liked by a sattvik person? What kind of food is so dear to a person with the purest of the attitudes, with the purest of persona? What is that type of food? Sri Krishna says, āyuḥsattvabalārogya. Ayuhu is the food that augments, that increases, that results into, the food that results into ayuhu, the vitality, longevity. Sattva. Sattva is energy, the power, the basic, joyful and blissful nature. That's sattva. Bala, the vigor, energy. Arogya, the health. Ayuhu sattva balaha arogya sukha priti vivardhana. Vivardhana is which increases. The food which increases longevity, the food which increases the energy, the sattva, the basic joyful nature, and bala, the power, vigor, arogya, the health as such, sukha, happiness, priti, the loving nature. And these are all augmented, vivardhana, by some types of foods. Now what are these types of foods? Sri Krishna says, rasyāḥ. Rasyāḥ is savoury. They are so tasty, they are so pleasant to the tongue. Rasyāḥ. They have swad in them. Rasyāḥ. Snigdhāḥ. They are oleaginous. With nice, melting fatty food. Not the fat-rich food, but the fat with the food with the right proportion of fat that it just melts into our mouth. rasyāḥ, snigdhāḥ, sthirā, which is substantial in quantity. Neither too huge quantity nor too meager quantity. Sthirā, the right balanced quantity of the food. And hṛdyā. Hṛdyā is which is agreeable to us. Now all of us, we have certain, we always observe. We always say that, oh, this food doesn't suit me. So that food which doesn't suit, if we take, we are not in a good shape, isn't it? So Sri Krishna says that the food which suits, hṛdyā, which is agreeable to the system, to one's system, āhārāḥ sāttvikapriyāḥ. That kind of food is so very dear to a sattvika person. So Sri Krishna, while describing the types of foods, Sri Krishna has prioritized to tell us more, first of all, about the sattvika type of food. The food which propagates, which augments, which increases the longevity, the vitality. It gives good energy to the body and the health and the happiness. It should not be that after eating food we just drop down our jaws and say, oh, what kind of food I had. No, not that right. It should give you sukha. That food should give us happiness after eating that food. That should give us joy. Oh yes, I have had such a wonderful lunch. Sometimes when we get something of our choice and we are so happy. The food that is agreeable to us, the food that suits our system when we have it in the moderate quantity, not that we just go on hogging, or not just we deprive ourselves of even the required quantity, just moderate quantity. When we have that kind of food, we are so happy, isn't it? That's sukha and sukhaprītivivardhanāḥ. That type of food which augments, which increases all these things. The life, the mood, the happiness, the strength, and our nature itself. Our nature itself gets a kind of shining with certain foods. Now that food, which is very tasty, rasyāḥ, which is very savoury, which is very tasty, which has the right amount of fat in it, snigdhāḥ, sthirā, which is just moderate quantity, the right quantity, not too high, not too low, and hṛdyā, which agrees with our system, which suits to our system. That kind of āhārāḥ, that kind of food, Sri Krishna says, is the food loved by the sattvika type of people, by the sattvika personalities. The food that adds to cheerfulness is also a promoter of appetite. The food that makes us cheerful, that makes us happy, of course, I mean that adds up to our appetite. When we see when the table is laid with dishes, and if we see some foods which are matching with our liking, which are suiting to our system, there may be tens of dishes on the table spread out. But some of the foods may not suit us. Although it might be a wonderful preparation, but if it doesn't suit us, then it doesn't give us that kind of a feeling of cheerfulness having seen that. If a very pungent food doesn't suit my system, there is no point looking at that dish, which is so very oily and the red look with all that red chili added to it. It not suit me. So what is the use? That beautifully looking dish lying there on the table. So the food should be cheerful. The food should suit our system. And also the food should be in the substantial quantity. Not that it is too high or it is too low in the quantity wise. It should be just the right quantity, the moderate quantity. The non-substantial food gets quickly digested. If we overeat, the digestion goes haywire. if we overeat it, we may like it extremely and we just keep on eating up. What happens? Our digestive process, they get absolutely disturbed. We can't digest the food that we overeat. So the right quantity, that is what Sri Krishna meant by the word sthirā. One should always eat the right quantity of food that is agreeable to our system. The right type of food that is agreeable to our system. The right kind of fat in that food that is agreeable to system. The right kind of taste that is agreeable to our system. And that food, Sri Krishna says, which is agreeable to the system, of that taste, of that fat content, of that quantity, that is always dear to the Sattvika people. It gives the food that is hard to digest, weakens the digestive organs and hinders longevity. So all these things that Sri Krishna has told us about the Sattvika type of food, they are all interrelated. You get a good nourishing food in the right quantity, which is nicely digested. You get all these, the output of having that food is your longevity, your vigor, your energy, your strength, your inherent nature, the bubbly, joyous, cheerful nature that we get. And also our nature to spread that love around, the priti, and also remaining happy, the sukha. All these, the outcome of eating food, it comes through the type of food that we eat. So Sri Krishna says, if the Sattvika food we focus on, then automatically it leads to longevity, it leads to cheerfulness, it leads to strength, it leads to happiness, it leads to joy, it leads to a lovable nature. But that food has to be of the right taste. The food has to be with the right quantity of fat in it. The food has to be with the right quantity. And when all these things in the right proportions they happen, the taste, the constituents in the food, the quantity of the food, all these things, then when they are in the right amount, then the resulting food which increases the longevity, happiness, cheerfulness, such kind of food is extremely dear to the Sattvika people. Time and place have their part to play in the consumption of the foods mentioned herein. Breakfast should necessarily be light. Supper. Now, when Sri Krishna talks about the word sthirā, it should be the moderate. It should be the right quantity. Now, our scriptures, in fact, even they have given the quantities which are proper to be had at the time of breakfast, to be had at the time of lunch, to be had at the time of supper or dinner or with the evening snacks. So this is what one has to keep in mind. Like the breakfast should always be light. Not if we have too heavy breakfast, what happens? The full day we spend in that spirit of dullness. We get so full, we don't feel like doing anything then. But the supper should also be adjusted, that while going to bed at night. Lunch should be decent quantity. Lunch should be decent quantity in a sense, not overeating, but just right so that it keeps us active, it keeps us energetic while performing the duties post lunch. Should not just make us feel very sleepy, very tired. Not overeating, not undereating also, because the moment it is undereating, it is, when am I going to eat next? That thought is always there at the top of our mind. So the right quantity of food, like breakfast, moderate lunch, again the supper and dinner time food should be kind of light. So that is what Krishna means by the word sthirā. Attention may be paid to the partaking of warmth-giving foods in cold countries and of those that have a cooling effect in the hot countries. Now, these are all the considerations that we have to actually take into account from our physical surroundings, physical circumstances. It might happen that one food which is liked by a sattvika person or which is tolerated by, which is conducive to the system of a sattvika person in a hot climate will also remain same for the sattvika person in the extremely cold climate. It may not happen so. So we have to also take into account all the suitability of this food. The how this food it matches with our system under those circumstances. So like Sri Krishna talked about the sthirā āhārāḥ, even the hṛdyā aspect of it, the food which suits us under certain circumstances, the food which may suit me in certain situations may not suit me in some other situations. So Sri Krishna says that all these things one must take into account while having this āhārāḥ. And the sattvika type of person is always considerate of this fact that what is the composition of this food, what is the quantity of this food, whether this food under these circumstances is going to be friendly with my system. Having given all these considerations, then the sattvika person starts liking that food. That food becomes dear to the sattvika type of person. And as a result, that food having ingested, then it leads to all those required outcomes that Sri Krishna has highlighted in the shloka of āyuḥsattvabalārogya sukhaprītivivardhanāḥ. All these are vivardhanāḥ, all these are augmented, all these are increased in desired proportions. Longevity, high vitality, the energy, the happiness, and the cheerfulness. So this is what happens with the sattvika type of food as described, as taught to us by Sri Krishna in this 8th shloka. Next we will see how about the rajasic type of food and the tamasic type of food also. Till then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.